So this is my first ever team events, the UKTC Summer ITT up in Leicester. My team finished 31st out of 73, so a pretty good result. Personally, I lost all 5 of my games, but I'm going to tell you why it was one of the most fun weekends of 40k I've had this year. I've only really played singles events, or occasionally a few doubles, not many GTs, so this was a pretty new experience for me. I went as part of the Water Vikings, which is the team that I'm part of. We actually took 3 individual teams to the tournament: Water Vikings Black, Silver and Pink. And I was on Team Silver. But before we get into how I got on, let's go through a little bit how teams works if you're not familiar with it. So in teams you have 5 players per team. Each player needs to pick a separate faction and disposition. So you can't have 2 Space Marines, for example. Everyone needs to be playing something unique. What then happens is you're drawn against another team, and to determine what pairings you get amongst those 5 players, you do a draft. So to start off that draft, each player puts down the Defender, which is one of the factions they have available. The other team then looks at that and puts down 2 options from their armies that they all want to fight at. The Defender then gets to pick one of the 2 armies who the other team has put down that they want to fight against. That then continues until everyone in the group is paired. There is some tactics to this. I mean, you want to try and make sure that you are getting favourable matchups. So before the tournament, you will have had entered your details into a matrix that shows what armies you feel like you're more comfortable playing against, which ones you feel are going to be particularly bad for you. So when you come to that draw stage, you have a quick sort of powwow as a team and you sort of go, I kind of want to play into them, I wouldn't mind playing to them, I want to avoid that army at all cost. So in that draw stage, you're really trying to manipulate it and try and manipulate the other team into giving you the favourable pairings. And that was one of the more fun things about the weekend, is between games, or even between day 1 and day 2, talking to the team, trying to speculate about who you're playing next if you didn't know. And once you did know, it was like, right, who wants what, who could do well against what, and that whole thing was like part of the real enjoyment of the weekend. So for the results, like I said, as a team we did really well. We went 3-2, but yeah, personally I lost all of my games. It's probably because I bought Imperial Knights, who aren't in the best place right now, but I'm a very, very new Knights player. It's the first tournament I've taken them to. I've only had a few games playing Knights, and the list I have available to me probably wasn't the best and didn't really feel like it had the toolkit to be able to challenge any of the more experienced lists that I came across. But then again, that's where the magic of teams shines, because I learnt that very, very quickly. So I sort of turned to the team captain and was like, look, I'm probably not going to get any wins here. I'm probably not going to get any big scores. But because of that, pair me against the ones that no one else wants to go into. Let me try and eke a few scores to try and help the team by removing that horrible army that no one wants to play, and they can just play into me and I'll help my team that way. So scoring in teams is also a little bit different. Rather than scoring out of 100, both players start at 10, and then every roughly 5 points difference in the score, that number then changes up and down. So if you're winning by more than 5 points, you will go, for example, 11-9. And then if you win by more than 50 points difference, you get 20-0. So that's the maximum you can get. And then you add up all the scores as a team. So as long as a team you have a collective higher score point than the opposition, then you will win. There's also, I think, if you're within 10 or 5 points difference overall, it's also counted as a draw, so draws are a bit more common than they are in singles. But ultimately, you need to make sure that every point you eke out is important and it matters. For example, your team could be completely smashing one game, there's another game on the table that you thought you were going to win but actually you're not doing so well. Your captain might come over to him and say, look, I know you're not expected to win here, but you just need to try and score as much as possible, but I may be playing more defensively than you needed to be, or something like that. So there is that dynamic shift in the games based on who's doing well and who's doing not so well. So me bringing my Knights not doing so well, it was actually great to know that, okay, I'm probably going to lose this, but how can I eke out as much points as possible? And that was why it was so enjoyable, because even though I was losing and my list wasn't performing what I wanted to do, I still felt like I was winning. My team ended up winning 3 out of the 5 games, which was fantastic, and that's the thing to celebrate. So I feel like I've achieved something. But also any points I was able to scrounge out of matchups, which we knew were going to be really hard, felt like bonus points. It felt like I was achieving something. So in teams, even losing can feel like a win, and I think that's what sets teams apart from single events. It wasn't all perfect though. I mean, the venue up in Leicester probably could have more toilets. There was a bit of a big queue for it. UKTC have since acknowledged some of the shortcomings they had from this event, and while there was some things to notice, my first event I generally thought it was fine. So if the bar is the lowest it's going to be, I'm looking forward to the future events when everything goes swimmingly and everyone's super happy with everything. My first team event is down. I'm looking forward to seeing what's on the horizon, what comes next. Next thing for me is LGT, which is going to be the end of September, so I'm currently just prepping for that. If you've been to a UKTC ITT or any other teams events, to be fair, and you've got any good stories, just leave a comment down below. Just remember, no punch-ups in the car park this time.